After rewatching Matt XP's Fallout videos for probably close to the millionth time, I was inspired to do a similar video of my own for World of Warcraft. I've always enjoyed long-form content on YouTube, such as HBomber Guy, VatiVidya, Matt XP, among others, and what follows is an attempt at similar content inspired by them. I hope you enjoy. I remember my mom purchasing WoW for me as a kid in 2006. I remember holding the box and not wanting to wait until I got home to play. I couldn't wait for my slow internet to finish installing it. After what felt like ages, but was probably only about 24 hours, I was finally able to jump into game. I chose what I thought was the coolest looking race, the Forsaken. Something about the way the undead looked called to me, and I quickly became consumed by my want to play the game. I chose a mage for this playthrough, because I don't think I've ever played one from start to finish. I am using a host of different add-ons, such as Spartan UI and Questy, along with a bunch of others. I will put a list of them down in the description, along with links. These videos are going to be heavily cut and edited. This first one is already nearing 30 minutes at the time of writing this script, and I figured the World of Walk simulator would be more enjoyable to watch with less walking involved. That being said, I'm going to have at least the first and last objective for each quest included, but I probably won't include every quest. I'm also going to try and keep the quests up for a few seconds for anyone that wants to read them. Now, let us get started on our journey through the World of Warcraft. This first quest was auto-accepted by my Spartan UI, but I quickly turned that off. The rest of them will all be manual. Mordo comments on how lucky I am to have woken up when I did, and directs me to speak with Shadow Priest Sarvis, and explains to me how to get to Deathnell from the crypt we are in. Easy enough. Once in town, Sarvis is pretty simple to find. He explains that I've been freed from the mind control of the Lich King, and goes on to say that others weren't so lucky, and that the town of Deathnell itself is currently occupied by mindless corpses. He tasks us with killing off a handful of them. Again, too easy. You'll notice I forgot to turn on auto loot. Classic. Upon returning to Sarvis, he offers me either gloves or a cloak. I chose the gloves because cloak drops are pretty common in the early game. He then tells me to go speak with my class trainer, who just so happens to be right next to me. I then pick up a quest from an undead woman next to Sarvis, and another quest from him. The woman wants us to go gather some paws and wings from the wolves and duskbats in the area, while Sarvis just wants us to kill some more Scourge, this time in the form of skeletons in the area just outside of town. Now, I thought I would try something clever with this next edit, but I ended up not liking it as much as I thought I would. Maybe if I could get the timing down better, but I do it again later on as well. I don't think, however, I'll do it again in future videos. Tell me what you think in the comments below.
Out of range.
After getting the last skeletons, paws, and wings, and leveling up, it was time to return to Sarvis and the undead woman to get our rewards. The woman, Elrith, asked me to find a man named Samuel Flips, kill his Scourge-controlled body, and bury his remains once more. I also picked up a quest to slay some spiders in the mine before selling my trash. and I grabbed another quest to scavenge for some supplies around town. I start with the supplies before going to locate Samuel and slaying him. After that, I was off to kill some spiders. With the final spider killed, I headed to the cemetery in Death Knell to bury Samuel's body. Then it was just a matter of turning in the 3 quests.
I am forsaken.
The executor that assigned me to kill the spiders decided I was capable enough to take on some of the Scarlet Crusade in the area, so that's where I headed next. I was happy to finally be doing something worthwhile with my skills. These humans were way more of a threat to us than wolves or spiders, or scared form or scourge.
I need to get closer.
I returned to Executor Arin with the 10 armbands he requested, and he gave me a quest to find some information from the leader of the Scarlet Crusade in the area.
Remember, patience, discipline. Farewell. Watch your back.
So I emptied my bags at the vendor and acquired some new spells from my trainer before heading back out to the area where the Crusade was encamped.
What will you require? Beware
With the documents in hand, I headed back to Executor Arin to report. My reward was a new staff and a new quest. Leave Death Knell and report my findings to Executor Zygon in Brill. I was finally off on a real adventure. On my way out of the valley, I noticed an undead with a quest for me. Curious, I trotted over and spoke with him. He handed me a letter and asked me to get it to the innkeeper in Brill, and said that he'd pay me handsomely for doing so.
Beware.
Just outside the gate to Death Knell, I met Deathguard Simmer, who asked me to steal some pumpkins from the humans trying to settle nearby and bring them to an apothecary in Brill. Of course, I obliged. I was heading there anyways. Arriving in Brill, I immediately grabbed another quest from a death guard, this one to eradicate more scourge in the area.
Time will come.
I then went to the apothecary's house and handed over the pumpkins I had collected. He laced them with something and told me to bring them to a prisoner of the crusade that was being held underneath the inn.
Dark lady.
I almost left without realizing that he had another quest for me. He wanted my help in designing a new plague and asked me to gather vials of blood from the demonic darkhounds in the area. While at the inn, an undead man asked me to take care of some scourge up at the mills in the northern part of the glades.
Trust no one.
I was also able to turn in the letter I was given.
haven't got all
The
day.
innkeeper didn't seem to care much about it, or about me, or about anything, for that matter. She tossed me some mushrooms for my trouble and sent me off.
Goodbye.
By the time all that was done, it was getting late, so I decided to head upstairs and rest for a while. The next morning, as I walked out of the inn, I opened my map to see, holy crap, that's a lot of stuff to get done. Oh well, better get started. Once I actually began working on quests, I realized that it wasn't as much as I originally thought. It's just that I had a lot of options as far as things that I could kill. I began killing things by killing darkhounds to get their blood. I also needed some dust bats for a quest called the Chill of Death. Next was the Rotting Dead. I needed to gather 7 putrid claws from their corpses. I focused on that until I had the quest completed. After gathering all the claws, I ran back to the Death Guard to turn it in.
This had better be good.
He gave me a quest to clear out the mills that I was already planning on going to.
Is about. Watch your back.
But first, I needed to start killing some gnolls for my Grave Robber's quest. Before finishing the gnolls, I decided to go finish my Duskback and Darkhound quests.
Is it ready yet?
As I ran by the entrance to Deathnell, I remembered there was a man who had promised me payment for delivering a letter. Considering the cold welcome I had gotten for it, I was determined to get my worth out of him.
And you,
He wasn't too happy to see me, and pretended we had never met. So I challenged him to a duel.
farewell.
And to make sure he knew I meant business, I beat him twice. Payment in hand, I walked away and headed towards the pumpkin farm where I had some Scarlet Crusaders to kill. With the Scarlet Warriors dead, I hearthstoned back to the inn in Brill to turn in the chill of death.
What is it? Dark Lady, watch over you. Embrace the shadow.
I also grabbed some new spells while I was there. I spoke with Executor Zygund and turned in my quest to kill the Scarlet Warriors. He then asked that I direct my skills towards an officer of the Crusade and his underlings. While in the area, I turned in my vials of Darkhound blood to the apothecary in town, who then asked me to continue helping him with his new plague by gathering fins from the murlocs native to the coastal region of the Glade. On my way back through Brill, another Death Guard waved me down. I guess the Executor had mentioned my current mission of ridding the Glades of the Scarlet Scum, and now this Death Guard asked me to bring him 10 insignia rings from their corpses as proof of my deeds. I headed north of town again to deal with the gnolls there once more. This time, I wouldn't leave until my task was completed. With my new array of spells, cleaning up this filth, and ridding the area of their leader, Magadai, was of little trouble. With Magadai dead, it was time to turn my attention to everyone's favorite enemy, the Murloc. With that annoying task completed, I once more headed back to Brill to turn in the 3 quests I had completed north of town.
Farewell.
After turning in grave robbers to the magistrate, he gave me orders to see Bethor in Undercity. We'll come back to that later.
Patience, discipline. Goodbye.
Next was the Murloc fins to Apothecary Johann, who then asked me to gather from venom from spiders on the eastern side of the region. I hate spiders.
Beware the living.
He also asked me to deliver his research to an apothecary in Silverpine Forest, but I wasn't quite ready to leave Tirisfal yet. The first quest I checked off my list was the one Executor Zygon had given me, as well as the Death Guard I had spoken to. It was time to rain fire down upon some of the Scarlet Crusade in the area. In order to take down the officer, Captain Perrine, I used my new polymorph spell to turn his bodyguard into a sheep. After that, the captain was easy prey. After that, all I needed was to finish collecting rings for the Death Guard. I didn't mind. The more Crusaders I could take out, the happier I was. Plus, it was really fun playing with my new spells. After hearthing back, I turned in my quests for the Scarlet Crusade kills that I just completed, before heading off towards the Agaman Mills.
Better be good. Farewell. Watch your back. What now? Remember.
Now, honestly, this was the first quest I was a little uneasy about. While I'm not trying to do a hardcore run, I am trying to complete this run without dying, and this spot used to be notorious for killing players who weren't prepared or fully aware of their surroundings. Fortunately, I was able to get through the mills without much of a hassle. As you can see, I hit level 10 here. I don't think I show it, but I ended up speccing Arcane, at least to start. With all of the skulls, ribs, and family members accounted for, it was time to return to town to turn the quests in, and empty my now overfilling bags.
I am forsaken. Beware the living. Beware our enemies. I'm listening. Remember, patience, discipline. I'm listening. Trust no one. What is it?
Hello. Goodbye. Do not seek death.
I am forsaken. Trust me.
With all the quests turned in and new spells trained, and having hit level 10 at the mills earlier, I thought it was time to bring this episode to a close. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, hit the like button and please consider subscribing so that you don't miss the next. If you think I could do better, hit the dislike and leave a comment telling me what I could change for next time. Good luck, have fun, and play safe.